Craig, is that Gencon swag I see you carrying?
Yeah, we sent you to Gen Con to get all the news and tidbits and information, and we haven't heard from you in I don't know
all
since like
weekend.
4 or 5 days.
Yeah,
all weekend.
Did he thought we said Gen Con? Because he looks fucking drunk.
Oh,
No.
He went to a totally different con.
Oh shit!
Man.
He went to London. Oh no!
Oh boy.
Gen Con.
Oh Lord! All right. Well, we're the Grumpy Dungeon Masters. I'm Jay, joined with my not drunk co-host Christopher, Christian, and Dan. Say hi, guys.
Hi guys.
Hello there.
That's not true. I've been drinking since noon.
Oh,
Johnny
boy.
Cash.
That's why Christian gets to tell us where we can be found on social medias and not you.
You can find the Grumpy Dungeon Masters podcast on Apple Podcast, on Spotify, and on YouTube. You can also find the Grumpy Dungeon Masters streaming live on Twitch TV Tuesday and Thursday evenings. Currently working our way through the Shifting Sands DLC of Soul Mask.
Hell yeah. Okay. We have so much to talk about tonight. So
yeah, what hasn't been already talked about all over YouTube and Reddit already.
Yeah, but now we get our say. I don't care what other people have said.
That is the problem with the weekly podcast format that we do, is that everyone just jumps on the content so fast and just rips through it like it's nothing, and it just
I have to be honest.
Cycle.
Yeah,
well, you know what? I haven't quit my day job yet, so as soon as I do, we can totally jump on it immediately. Waffles.
I have to say, at least with a lot of the news that came out, I haven't seen anybody shitting all over it like we're going to.
Whoa! Pump the brakes! I'm excited.
Spoilers.
Some of it was good. Some of it I genuinely am good.
Listen,
with.
before we start and really go on about 15 tangents about what Craig brought back to us from Gen Con. And thanks again, Craig, for doing that for us. Didn't really want to fly up to Indy anyway. Can we talk about the Ennies?
Yeah, we should.
Let's revisit the Ennies.
I want to start off with this about the Ennies before you get into specifics.
Oh boy.
I watched the keynote and I was watching everything else that they were trying to host from the Wotc side of things. Mm-hmm. And oh my God, whoever was running the sound mixing there was the worst. I'm not going to blame the tech people because there's always unforeseen circumstances. And I was initially just going to say, oh, here's another shitty Wotc production. Can't hear Luke Gygax talk. Can't hear anyone else talk. And even during the keynote, the sounding and miking was terrible. And so I thought it was just all Wotc just dropping the ball, not hiring a good enough crew or whatnot. But then I tried watching the Ennies. And oh my God, did it just start off with the worst sound mixing and sound editing as well, too. So I don't know what the problem was, but I really hope that Gen Con is one of the premier things for tabletop stuff. They need to put a little bit more effort in getting their sound and streaming of these things working.
Better production, yeah.
And not just the absolute shit show that it was. Because it was, I was trying to watch Professor TM because he was on our podcast talking about the Ennies. And I could barely hear his mic half the time. I had to jack up my speakers to max. And then if I got a Facebook notification, my speakers blew up. I don't know what it was. Sorry, I'm done.
No, hey, that's a legitimate rant, man.
Let's file a complaint with Gen Con proper. I will say, I've streamed live stuff from Comic-Con before, and there's never those issues. Yeah, and I was kind of surprised with how shoddy the streaming quality was, too. But hey,
yeah, but Comic-Con, you're dealing with Hollywood production.
Okay, but there's still 75,000 people in Indianapolis last weekend or this weekend, which is more than actually Comic-Con. So,
Not saying they shouldn't have it.
On top of that, did you see the roof was leaking and shit?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, right on the Chaosium booth.
It wasn't just a leak; it was a fucking downpour. They're getting trash cans, massive dumpsters out there to catch all the water and shit. That's like low-level shit. If the name Gencon wasn't attached to this con, it would never happen again.
It's probably true.
It is
Yeah.
so.
So let's talk about the Ennies. Focus on that.
All right.
Professor DM did a great job.
Yep. So yeah, we talked about the Ennies 2 weeks ago. Our last week's guest was the host of the Ennie Awards this year. We went through what we knew about the proposed all the nominees for the Ennie Awards, but I got the list of who won. So best adventure long form gold winner was Vaesen, City of My Nightmares by Free League, which looks gothic and dark as hell.
Vaesen looks cool as hell. I actually own the
It
copy.
does. It does. It does look very cool.
Yeah.
City of My Nightmares is set in 19th century Stockholm, but it can be adapted to London, Prague, or any Gothic metropolis area. And there's just a creepy ass like humanoid face on a flying raven and like some ghosts flying across the city over on the cover. It looks pretty wicked. So silver was Historica Arcanum Serenade for the Damned, which I think we went over a couple of months back actually, because I was just flipping through our
we talked about a little bit about Historica Arcanum and what it is and the crew behind it just a bit.
Best Adventure short form was Whispers of the Woods Gold. It's a really cool looking book that has it looks like it's got a bunch of hexes in it, a lot of the D66s. Looks very OSR. Kind of neat looking. It's by Helltongue Storytelling. Minimalistic role-playing game which players will fill the shoes of 18th century villagers on a journey into mysterious dark woods. The game focuses on storytelling, making difficult choices, and weaving a collaborative, intertwined narrative. Beautifully illustrated with art based on old line of cuts and filled with tones of story hooks, tables, and plot points. It is a unique tool for creating memorable atmospheric stories. It's pretty interesting. It's a completely unique system and setting. And really, really interesting art. It does really look like line of cut wood. So that one won. What else we got here? Too many windows open now. Silver for the Ennies. Oh, no.
For the best adventure short form was The Bride of Pendle from Miskatonic Repository,
which is for Call of Cthulhu, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want me to keep going, or
you keep going because I just lost the list apparently.
Okay. Best accessory / digital is Crooked. Winner for gold was Crooked Moon Alchemy Virtual Tabletop, and silver was Pathfinder 2e and Starfinder 2e on Foundry. Best accessory non-digital is the Crooked Moon Tarot card set, which I'm sure Chris has something to say about.
It wasn't the tarot cards that I had the issue with, because the tarot cards were separate than the magic item cards. Those were the ones that had all the spelling mistakes and everything. So I did double check that. I had to unbury the Crooked Moon box set that my wife got and take a look through it. But so I'm glad that one, but because they did look really cool, but it was the other accessories that
silver got it was handouts. Ryoko's Lost Notes by Loot Tavern Publishing. I am not even remotely familiar with these, unfortunately, but looks cool.
I am.
Wrath of the Kaiju. Okay.
Yeah. Loot Tavern is started out just some guys, a couple of artists on Patreon creating art for magic items, and then they expanded into doing like Monster Hunter meets D&D kind of style stuff, where they would make a big monster and you could go and fight it and chop it up for parts and make magic items out of it and stuff like that. And then this Ryoko's thing was their big collaboration with D&D Shorts YouTuber, and based on yokai and kaiju.
All right. Best cover art gold winner was the Crooked Moon Standard Edition hardcover, which we talked about it when we were talking about Crooked Moon. Like the art in that whole book is really,
it's
really
phenomenal.
good.
Yeah,
And
it's really good.
for somebody who's not generally a fan of 5e art, like that was one of the things that sold me on it. So
Yeah, the cover art has basically Wicker Man on it.
Yeah,
pretty great.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Silver was Historical Arcanum Echoes of Renaissance, which is a pretty dope looking
It's pretty metal.
skull with a silver helmet and like a ring of roses around it. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Interior art was Legend in the Mist, core book, Son of Oak Game Studio. And yeah, it's anime-esque, looks almost like Record of Lotus War. Very cartoonish. Like I don't know if you guys remember, there used to always be like a comic strip at the beginning of every like 1990s White Wolf that basically introduced the game. It looks like they did that, but it's more in the line of I don't know, anime, Record of Lotus War, Dragon Prince, Avatar sort of look. Pretty cool looking.
I love how you use Record of Lotus War. Like all the hip kids are going to get that.
If they don't, they get on the damn
D&D
internet.
should get that. I mean, that is like the D&D anime from the 90s.
You mean last century?
Yes, last century.
I hope you die in a fire.
Field Guide the Silver was Field Guide to Floral Dragons box set, which I did talk about it a little bit. It beautiful watercolors of various different dragon types. They're called floral dragons. And
all the Pokemon.
They're literally just named after specific flowers. So you have the rhododendron dragon, you have the daisy, the azalea, and they look just like it. I mean, it looks really cool.
They're fucking Pokemon. They're literally just Pokemon. That's what it looks like.
Nah.
I'm not saying
maybe like the special art card Pokemon or something like that, but not like your average.
I mean, I don't know shit about Pokemon, let's be honest, but that's what the art reminds me of. It is good art, don't get me wrong, but
yeah.
It's
best community content, we had Triangle Agency Fanzine.
Oh, you missed cartography.
Oh yeah. That was Dolmenwood maps book, which I agree. Great set of maps. And Silver was Collection of Fantasy Maps by Open Sesame Games. Pretty nice, just samples set of maps that I see on here. It looks like it's German, I'm guessing. Yeah,
that's what it said. Does what it says on the tin. It is fantasy maps that are a collection.
Yeah,
we got
sites.
We got to speed through these. We got a lot of them.
All right. So let's get the golds. Best family game was Dungeon and Kitten Starter Kit, which is cute. Best free game.
Well, I want to mention the silvers because some of them are things that I really like the silver for family game of Dragontown and the Darkness Down Below.
Okay.
All good.
Okay. We also got gold winner for best free games, Daggerheart Quick Start Adventure, Sablewood Messengers, which actually I think Christian, you and I played through that at LudCon last year. That was actually good. That was actually a very good intro adventure.
Yeah.
And in fact, actually the way they presented it and the way you basically unlocked and learned abilities was really clever.
Mm-hmm.
Silver was Legend of the Mist, Learn to Play Comic Book Adventure, also by Son of Oak Game Studio. Best game was Daggerheart Core Set. Silver was Legend of the Mist Core Book.
Daggerheart, best game of the year, no surprise.
Yeah. Best layout, Warhammer: The Old World Role Playing, and silver was Berserker. Best monster / adversary, Monsters of Drakenheim, and silver was Dolmenwood Monster Book. I think I'd flip those, but hey, I'm not the judge. Best online content, Designing Dungeons course, or How to Kill a Party in 30 Rooms or Less, which I really need to look into.
That is a really interesting course. I've only started the first couple of them, but it's really good stuff.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool.
Might have to look into it.
And then solo RPG list.
If you're not killing players in 30 rooms, or if it takes you 30 rooms to kill players, you aren't trying hard enough. I can do it before the room even begins.
Yeah, just play Traveler.
Yeah, you can do it in character creation.
Yeah. Production values, Crooked Moon. No surprise there. Silver was Legend of the Mist again. Best RPG related product, Beyond the Witching Ring, Dolmenwood's soundtrack album, which I totally want to get now. It's 12-inch vinyl. Menagerie of Unbearable Things, which I think, Christian, you've told us about, by Tanya Herrero.
Yes, I was happy to see that get some get a win.
Yeah. Best rules, Daggerheart. Best silver was again Legend of the Mist, which I feel like I need to check out now. This is like the 5th time I've seen Legend of the Mist pop up.
Legend of the Mist it's kind of a modified. It plays like Powered by the Apocalypse.
Oh.
Okay, maybe I don't need to check it out then. Best setting, Dolmenwood. Okay. Silver was rated this. What?
That's actually quite really good, because like Crooked Moon didn't win that. I don't even think they were nominated for that one, right?
Setting?
No, they weren't.
No.
Yeah.
Not in best setting. No.
Which is, I just find it odd, given how popular it was. Like that, the setting is what
That's what sold it.
Yeah, for a lot of people. And
there was some pretty stiff competition, though, if you look at the other ones that are up there.
Yeah, and I think they just didn't, because it was going to win a bunch of other different awards, especially the audience award, which we'll talk about later.
Solo game, Spine, a dark solo TTRPG about losing yourself in a book, and The Bonsai Diary. Best streaming, Get Your Sheet Together by Darrington Press, and silver was Cozy RPG Reviews. Best supplement, Legend of the Mist again. Silver, The Painted Wastelands Player's Guide, which I've read a bunch about too. I heard that was quite good.
Old school essentials.
Yeah. Writing, Making Enemies, monster design inspiration for tabletop role-playing games by Gallery Books. That sounds cool. Rapscallion by Magpie Games. Product of the year is Crooked Moon Ultimate Edition. And winner was Daggerheart, or silver winner was Daggerheart. So there you go. Crooked Moon definitely gets some serious nods, but I think Daggerheart beats them out in a couple of categories. And really the big winners I'm seeing here are Crooked Moon, Daggerheart, and Dolmenwood. Some other people definitely get some nods.
Legend of the Mist as well.
Legend of the Mist definitely is a runner up
there.
here.
Yep.
It's for sure. But yeah, those are your Ennies. Want to check it out? Go check out the ttrpgfans.com/Ennie-awards, and you can find out everything else that has been published, because the actual Ennie Awards website has not been updated yet as of the recording of this podcast. All right, what's next? Where are we going? We still at Gen Con? We're still at Gen Con!
Gen Con, yay!
Come on!
Still talking about Gen Con. That's all we're going to talk about tonight.
Vampire of the Masquerade announced 6th edition.
Boo! It's already getting shat on.
Oh yeah, there's playtest documents out I have not looked at. We can revisit that later.
We'll come back to that.
Stronger opinions and other things, but also, I think we mentioned this maybe, but Vampire the Masquerade, Bound by Blood, will be bringing the World of Darkness to D&D Beyond.
Only D&D Beyond.
To no fanfare except for Waples.
Actually, I really, that was actually the only one that surprised me, because I don't know anything about Vampire the Masquerade except for what I've heard from a lot of people. And I guess we're talking about the whole keynote now, right?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
So, Vampire the Masquerade coming out surprised me, but it kind of also didn't. And I've been a big proponent of, like, why make your own system or have your own unique system when you can just modify or update 5e, which everyone's already playing, most of everyone's already playing, and just be a part of that. So I don't know. You guys have played Vampire the Masquerade, right?
Because 5e does not work for every game. That's why.
So I feel like I have to interject here, because I feel like I have some history that you don't have, Waples, and I feel like maybe Jay and Christian Wayne on this. They're trying to D20fy 5e real fucking hard, because this is exactly what happened in the early 2000s when open source came out and everybody could have a D&D type game. So they just gave everybody the logo and said compatible D20, and everything that was D20 compatible was essentially a 3rd edition or 3.5 version of whatever fucking game you wanted. So you wanted EverQuest, you wanted World of Warcraft, you got it. It's D20 now. If you want some sort of a White Wolf nonsense in your game, sure, you can D20fy it. In fact, White Wolf even actually did a subsidiary called Sword and Sorcery, where they made dark content for D20 games. Monty Cook headed up for a little while. Let's look into it. There's a ton of like alternate D20 rules for 3rd edition. Like Mike Merles wrote a shitload of them. But that sounds like this. It sounds and feels like what happened 25 years ago is happening again.
But isn't this exactly what we, and I'm saying the greater we, I'm saying the whole tabletop community bitched about and wanted when Wotc was trying to lock down the rule system with the release of 5.5 and the whole, what was it, the OVA?
The
No,
OGL.
No, this is
the
not.
OGL issue.
No,
Like, hey, make this available for everyone so we can use your system. So people are doing that. They're using the system. So why are we complaining about that?
you
Christian, you were
missed the
gonna say.
point of that. They were most upset. Not that was that. Not only was Watson going to they were trying to change the thing that other people were already using, but they were going to start collecting money from those people, not having done any work. Was just going to say, oh, okay, you're using our things. Well, you have to pay the troll toll to release a D&D system.
Right. And I get there was a lot of issues with what they were trying to do. But a lot of it was we want to continue to use 5e for our products and stuff. We don't want to get charged for it. It should be out there for everyone to use like every other system has, except for 4th, which is why no one's playing 4th at all, and why nothing's built off of 4th. And everyone made all these arguments that D&D should be free for everyone, and we all won. So they went, okay, we're gonna go with that too.
If they had said, because they didn't initially do this with 5e, initially 5e was free for everybody. And if they had said, okay, 5e is free for everybody, but if you want to do 5.5, then you have to pay in, that's a whole other ballgame. But that's not what they did. They tried to backtrack and just everybody using 5e, you now owe us. And they got, they got shat all over for it and had no choice but to backtrack because they lost 60,000 D&D Beyond subscriptions in one day.
I still haven't re-upped my D&D Beyond
subscription. Yeah, a lot of people haven't. And everybody moved on from 5e over that too.
The point wasn't that they wanted to turn they didn't want, it wasn't, people weren't mad because they wanted to turn every single game into 5e. They wanted to be able to make 5e content, release it on places if they wanted to, but standard Dungeons and Dragons stuff. They weren't saying every game needs to just convert to D&D. They just wanted to be able to make their own D&D stuff, and if they so chose, to publish it.
Yeah. So here's the thing: if White Wolf said we want to make our own 5e version of this game, we're not teaming with Wotc to do this. We're just going to use the open source rules and make our own game. That's one thing, because White Wolf at least has a proper understanding of the lore and the history and everything behind the game. Whereas with them teaming with Wotc is able to just sort of put the foot down and say, okay, this is all you're going to get, and we don't give a fuck about the lore, the rules, or anything. We're doing it this way. And just from what I've seen the little bit in the Bound for Blood, it's or Bound by Blood, it's only going to be on D&D Beyond. There's only 6 possible clans you can play. They've already just ruined anything as far as Vampire. I am a fan of there being more stuff for D&D players to use, but I would rather Wotc or somebody else just make new lore rather than trying to use shit that already exists.
All right. So bouncing off of that then, talking about new lore, new stuff people are doing, also announced in the keynote. They announced that they're having third-party publishers create the official content for a lot of the products moving forward. The 3 that they highlighted in the keynote was Ghostfire Gaming doing Ravenloft, Visionary doing Eberron, and Cobalt Press doing Forgotten Realms. Any thoughts on that?
It's still, yeah. Go ahead, Christian. I'll let you have this one.
Visionary, I think, I could be wrong, but somebody told me they actually employ Keith Baker, the creator of Eberron.
That's good.
And if so, that makes perfect sense, because then he's getting his own thing back and would be a good person to do it. Cobalt Press has Wolfgang Bauer at the head of them, who is one of the old TSR guys that used to write for and edit Dragon Magazine and do stuff in the Forgotten Realms too. So he's an old TSR hand that was around with those guys in the 2E days. Ghostfire Gaming, all their stuff, if you've seen the stuff they have up there, that is their own stuff, like their in-house stuff, that not just the stuff that they help publish and help with Kickstarters, but it's all dark fantasy. So like that is their bread and butter, is dark fantasy settings. And so I think they're a decent fit for Ravenloft. The issue, I think, and even with people they have that they'll run into, is that when you work with Wotc, you don't always get a free hand. Wotc still has sort of the kind of content police that are going to tell you what you can and cannot mess with and how you can and cannot do certain things. So it's not entirely on your own terms.
And I think that's true. It's definitely going to go through their editing.
That's
but
what drove Larian off.
Yeah, I get that. But for at least Ghostfire's perspective, James Hake is working for D&D Beyond directly, still doing content for them. So I don't think there's going to be much of an issue with them. Cold Ball Press, they did a lot of 5e stuff, so they're used to it. Visionary might be a little different, but, that should be neat.
Yeah. I think the people who work directly for Wotc in the D&D division, I don't think they're the problem. Like it's upper management above them who will just shit can something even though it shouldn't be, or say, no, this doesn't work, even though they've never played a game of D&D.
Yeah, I do like the idea that they're gonna, and I hope that more creative stuff comes out of this. Maybe they do let them off the leash a little bit and give them more of a free reign, and having more creators able to do stuff could be good. That's my positive spin.
Okay. They did also announce other partnered content. Valda's Spire Secrets, Vampire the Masquerade, Frontiers of Eberron, Floral Dragons, which I guess when we talked about them showing up so many times in the Ennies. I
wasn't mocking it. I was just saying it looks like Pokemon.
Oh, okay. I was. The Magnus class, Obojima, which I'm really glad that they did more than just a source book and not and fall off the face of the planet. I'm glad they're making more stuff and putting it out there. And Herbarium as well, coming out, just more stuff on D&D Beyond, which we've talked about them putting third-party content up there and how it's a gateway, and this whole problem as a society where we don't own our content unless it's physical media. As a side note, just as a funny aside, long-running podcast people will remember this, but Jay, you remember Ouroboros, right?
Oh yes.
Yeah, they're doing another Kickstarter.
Oh no!
They announced it at Gencon.
Can't wait to see it at Ollie's.
Ouroboros was a thing that I only bought because one Christopher Waples sold me hard on it of how great it was going to be, and it was the shittiest, like some random guy on Reddit's homebrew product.
We did
it was Chris Metzen, man, and that guy was amazing.
We did a deep dive.
Anymore.
Like we had the PDFs. We did a deep dive into this thing in one of our old podcasts, and the lore behind it. There's some really good lore in there, but that's kind of where it stopped.
Do you remember my biggest issue with that setting coming out, Jay?
I don't, not offhand.
So my biggest issue, and the issue that I have with anyone that just releases a setting, is you need to also release a campaign guide to go with it. Because I feel, for newer DMs, if you want me to get a taste of your world and get people into your world as well, don't just give me a source book and say, have a sandbox and just go to town. Where do you want the focus to be in the different things? Show me what a story should look like, and then I can sandbox from there. because I like to know where the box is, you know. But that's what the Kickstarter is. They're actually writing a campaign setting for the Ouroboros setting.
It's 5 years too late for this.
It is 5 years too late. I'm thinking of backing it at the lowest just to have it.
Man, you like to throw away your fucking money. Jesus.
You can buy it at Ollie's in a few years.
You can buy it at Ollie's in a few years.
Won't take long.
I just feel real bad because I really like Chris Metz's stuff. I really did kind of like Ouroboros, but it's too late for this shit. I've moved on.
Yeah, he's gonna cry golden tears on his yacht about his D&D setting. Not
if they released another Sky Raiders of Aberax, I'm not backing it. No, we learned our lesson.
So other things that they talked about at the keynote, the revamp of D&D Beyond and the new mobile app. You guys care about that at all?
Nope.
I'm sure you do. So
I will say that what every game master wants is for players to use their phone at the table more. Just
if there's something specific you want to talk about in it, Chris, go for it. But I don't give a shit about it.
I just wanted to mention it. I like that they're revamping the app. The app is cumbersome to use, and that's what honestly is the worst draw of it. I have a lot of players that eventually use their phone in D&D Beyond, and it lags, it doesn't roll right, it's hard to find shit. And this is someone like me who knows my way around D&D. And I'm going to other players who know their way around D&D Beyond, and like, where the fuck is this? And it's just very cumbersome. It's made for the web, made for a browser and computer. It's not made for the phone. So seeing the mobile app and the way they've gamified the character sheet, I'm excited for. However, I think there's a very fine line between gamifying the character sheet so that it's easily usable at the table and gamifying the character sheet to where it becomes a distraction. And I think they've leaned too heavy into that, especially with all like the explosions and critical hit effects and shit like that. I'll have to see how it actually looks when it comes out, so I'm kind of saving all that for then. But what they kind of showed off, I'm a little bit worried that it's going to be too flashy for what it should be at the table. It shouldn't turn my tabletop game into a computer game, and I feel like it's doing that.
I mean, that's what they want.
That's just what their VTT looked like, where they were trying to make it basically look like you're playing Baldur's Gate or some shit.
Yeah.
See how well that fucking turned out.
Yeah. Another thing they talked about too was D&D Beyond looking for group.
Don't mind that.
Finest.
Like if you play on D&D Beyond, that's a good thing to have.
Well, so have you guys ever gone to start playing or done anything on that at all?
Played
Do
once
you even know what
with you.
Start playing. No. So yeah, okay. So D&D Beyond Looking for Group is a partnership with Start Playing. Start Playing is a third-party website where you can hire dungeon masters to run games for you. Okay? And what D&D Beyond Looking for Group is a way for you to find not only local events at your gaming stores, but also they're going to have a dedicated session where they're going to partner with Start Playing, where you can find dungeon masters that will run games through the D&D Beyond VTT with all the D&D Beyond apps, and basically pay for DMs that way. And they're starting with a promotion where you get the dungeon masters for like $1 an hour. Normally it's like I keep an eye on it and what people charge for D&D and at the professional level, and it's anywhere between $20 and $40 an hour per person. So I think that's kind of neat. It's definitely kind of bringing in dungeon mastering as a profession to more of the mainstream audience, you know, and it might be neat. It might work out. I mean, Start Playing is fairly popular. I've seen it around for a number of years, and I know a lot of people that use it. So I don't know. It might work. It might not. But getting more events in the event finder showed up. That'd be great. I'd love for them to stop making me use the fucking Magic the Gathering companion app at my local Adventures League games and D&D events, because that confuses the shit out of people. And I go, yeah, I need you to log in your
You have a Magic the Gathering thing, yeah.
Yeah, you got to download Magic the Gathering companion app. Yeah, they love doing that. So I thought that was neat and interesting.
There's potential. There's potential for that to be a good thing. We'll see.
Yep. So let's get into Greyhawk. The Greyhawk Crown of the Witch Queen.
Yep.
Anyone? Yeah.
I mean, I watched the keynote. I have nothing to say about it other than we already knew they were doing Greyhawk again. So cool,
Yeah,
module.
he announced that
they didn't say much about Luke Gygax's Greyhawk thing, whatever he is writing for Greyhawk, Melf's Guide or whatever.
Yeah, it's like other than D&D icons, which
was announced as a thing where they were bringing these creators on and then given exactly 0 details.
Yeah, they just rated them on stage like, oh my god, look at these old guys. They're coming back to write for D&D.
Sometime
else.
Well, no, they announced, they brought up and they re-announced the Luke Gygax thing. But I wasn't talking about that. I'm talking about the
adventure. I know. Yeah,
the adventure.
They're doing an official adventure.
Queen. Yeah.
Yeah, I have it right here. It's Crown of the Witch Queen is a 160-page campaign adventure set in the world of Greyhawk. Primary antagonist is Drelsna, the vampire daughter of Igwivel, the powerful Witch Queen, better known to modern players as Tasha. During a press conference, the Wizards Coast product architect, fucking quit co-oping my goddamn profession. Andy Chilton reviewed several illustrations from the upcoming campaign book and noted that visually we're going for operatic, thrilling, archetypal, big, dramatic silhouettes on bold, impactful shapes that feel like classic Greyhawk but reimagined and updated for today's adventures. I mean, the art for Drelsna looks pretty fucking boss.
Yeah.
But pricing, given the page count, hardcover likely retail for only $29.99. D&D Beyond version going for $19.99, which is actually really low price.
There's no chance in hell they make it $29.99.
So it says.
Yeah, I call bullshit. No way.
It's the same pricing they revealed for Arcana Unleashed Deadfall, which is another adventure module that's 160 pages, and that's also $29.99. So I don't know. Be great if they actually did that.
That would be nice. I won't buy it either way, but it'd be nice.
There's a couple of tie-in products coming out. Crown of the Witch Queen map pack, available in print and on D&D Beyond. Crown of the Witch Queen DM screen, of course, and similar map packs products that came out with Ravenloft: The Horrors Within.
I do want to take a quick note here, and this applies for everything we talk about. I love these map packs that they're putting out in collaboration with each book. Fucking love them. Like I got the Ravenloft map pack and was very happy with all those. It was like basically a map per major domain. The map pack for this is going to be great. Like I'll pick up map packs just to have those maps because I can use them in like whatever game I want and have it be whatever I want it to be. You know. So I'm really excited. They're using the maps. They're in the books. It's great. I love it.
Yeah, Pathfinder's been releasing map packs for fucking 15 years, and you can use them for whatever you want them to be.
Yeah, I've got dozens of them. So, are you guys familiar with who Drelsna is? Other than Igwivel's daughter,
Lost Caverns of Sojanth or something, right?
Yeah, she appears in the Lost Caverns of Sojanth, old school Greyhawk module. But yeah, I will say that if you ran through the module, you definitely fucking kill her. Which is how you end up pissing off Igwivel. So,
as they say, not anymore.
Yeah, not anymore. Go into an alternate timeline where she didn't die, or there's a clone of her. I don't fucking know. I'm sure.
I mean, she's a fucking vampire. They always come back.
I mean,
they don't, other than Strahd.
Look, Wizards of the Coast would never try to rewrite things that have been in existence for 40 years. They would never try to do that.
True. Although I will say, apparently, whenever it was officially converted in, apparently they converted Lost Caverns of Sojanth to 3rd edition. Did you know that Drelsna wasn't just a vampire wearing full plate? She was a fighter. She was level 13, and she was a samurai.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Greyhawk wiki right now, so I'm very excited by that. So maybe, hey, let's go real old school Wizards. You guys are going back to D20 days. Let's bring back Drells and the Samurai.
Hell yeah.
Cool.
There's a 5e
Also,
subclass for it.
Literally,
Oh,
like I'm looking at this right. She carried a magical bastard sword in 1E called Heretic, which was described as a Wakizashi in 3rd edition.
That's not a bastard sword.
No,
That's
it's not.
slightly different.
Also brought up on the keynote and talked about Dragonlance with Tracy Hickman. Yay.
No details.
No
no
details,
details.
though.
Yeah.
Dritz Stewart is back via R.A. Salvatore, like he ever went anywhere.
Yeah,
When was he gone?
Yeah, when
I
is he gone?
I'm
Well-
pretty sure R.A. Salvatore's put out at least one Dritz or Dritz tangentially related novel every year since 1989. I'm not sure
He's been
gone
writing.
anywhere.
He's been writing a lot with Dritz's daughter, and they were trying to make her work.
So different.
Like I
Yeah,
said,
so-
tangentially related to Dritz. Got it.
So he put out those were the recent books that came out because my wife likes to read Dritz novels.
Mhm.
Like you do.
And I don't know. I was happy they moved on past Dritz and we're making another character out there. I still think that her thing is set to come out maybe next year, where they have more like animated series or something. I can't remember.
No, buddy,
involving her.
you know what we need is a drow with 2 more scimitars. Is what we need.
You know what?
Well,
I can see. I
has-
can watch an animated cartoon of the adventures of Dritz Stewart.
I'd watch it.
Yeah, I'd watch that.
Well,
That's fine.
It's her daughter. She has the scimitars. It's fine.
Cool.
As long as there's 2 scimitars and a summonable cat.
No,
Yeah.
I think someone else has the cat now.
Bullshit.
Dungeons and Dragons Icons, a new initiative led by Joe Manganiello. Don't know what that was about. I don't know what Death Saves is about. I tried to find.
No.
It was about the
Dungeons
thing we
Dragons-
just talked about.
Icons was about him bringing back the old talent from TSR and Luke Gygax. It was
Okay.
basically that's when they introduced Salvatore Hickman and Gygax.
Here's the thing. Over the past few years, a lot of the old luminaries have kind of been shat on. There was a lot of bad things being thrown at Gary, for whatever reasons over the past few years. And I think that Dan Ayub, the guy who's running things there now, wasn't happy about that and is trying to sort of make up to the old guard for that and the old player base.
What confuses me though, Jay, is that just 5 years ago we had Shadow of the Dragon Queen, which was supposed to have been the big comeback for Dragonlance, which was dog shit. Again, another product that ended up at Owlie's.
Do you know why? Because Hickman and Weiss weren't involved.
They were initially.
That happened when the lawsuit was taking place.
Yeah.
Like they did not have any fucking input on the final product there.
Well,
Also,
maybe-
it was just another random adventure path thing, and a board that was mostly a tie-in to use the board game.
Now, I'm not saying that Hickman and Weiss would have wrote some fucking grand epic adventure, but getting their input on Dragonlance stuff seems like a no-brainer.
if you're gonna run Dragonlance, sure. But let me go ahead and just get on my soapbox here. The Dragonlance modules were some of the worst modules ever written in the 80s, and you're not going to change my fucking mind about it. They are awful.
I'm not
They're
even trying to
fucking
change your mind about it.
awful. I love Weiss and Hickman as writers. I love those stories. They were great. They're part of my childhood. I feel like they need to stay there. To be quite honest, I don't think I need new Dragon. No matter what Joe Manganiello says, I don't think I need more new Dragonlance. But hey, if it comes out and it's actually good, great, cool.
Yeah, I don't want more Dragonlance adventures. I would like to see a Dragonlance setting source book with official subclasses and races that are properly done. Things like that. That would be nice.
Sure, a
No, man,
sandbox,
they're just gonna be like-
Dragonlance be great. I don't want to revisit the Heroes of the Lance. I don't want to revisit Huma or any of that shit. I'd like to see a sandbox. Sure, that'd be
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
But you know how they're going to do it? It's just going to be like, hey, you guys heard of Draconians? It's just Dragonborn.
Yeah. Yeah.
So moving on to the other D&D icons, death saves. D&D's Black Label product. And I couldn't find any information about this on D&D Beyond.
I did.
On D&D Beyond?
Not on D&D Beyond, but
Okay.
I found some information. And
Yeah, I found it elsewhere. I didn't find it on D&D Beyond, which I just want to mention is like, seems really fucking weird.
They gave no details during the keynote, and the next day there was a live play, which I did not watch.
I found some information on Dungeons and Dragons fans, DungeonsandDragonsFan.com. I put it in a podcast chat on our Discord if you guys want to look at it. Christian, what did you find out?
Yeah, I'm going to weigh on this just because of what it ties into. It is called, the official, I guess, setting, guidebook, whatever, is called Death Saves the Blood War.
Huh.
And the premise is that the Blood War has finally ended and the demons won. So they swarmed across the 9 hells, and after the 9 hells falls, they swarm everywhere else and overrun all of existence, leaving only the City of Doors sigil surviving. The Lady of Pain ends her life and unleashes a cataclysm that annihilates almost everything in all the other planes. It incorporates everything into a single realm called the Last World, which is the only bastion of mortality and things holding out against the tide of demons.
So, I think this is pretty cool. Like I said, this is the Black Label product, which is supposed to basically be lore that goes a little too far, or with settings and themes that are not meant for the general audience. So I'm very glad this isn't just like fucking D&D, cross Shadowdark, which what I thought it initially sounded like.
Oh no, not
It sounds more like they're taking lead from Lamentations of the Flame Princess.
I mean, maybe.
You heard all the Planescape stuff in there, so I think it's like a D&D what if.
Yeah, that was my initial thought, but
I am heartened by the fact that Mike Mearls is writing on it, and also by the fact that his live play includes Luke Stratton and Professor DM.
It did, and
so I feel like I need to watch this, see how it goes. But we'll revisit that.
Yeah,
it does look pretty fucking metal, but it's not Shadowdark, it's not Deathbringer. It's post-apocalyptic Planescape, which is just
I'm cool with that.
Weird.
I like that.
It's weird. It's definitely different.
I don't know enough information. Like the idea of it as a, hey, this is a possible scenario and this is our extrapolation of what would happen if that happened. Interesting. I like, I need to know more. I don't know enough to really have an opinion one way or the other.
Yeah, this looks like, you have you have canon products that, of course you can change canon whenever you want because you're Wotc, but they literally are quoted, but they clearly quoted Mike Burrell saying that we're basically allowed to do some things with the D&D lore that in a canon book would be like, that's a little too far, because I'm guessing it's like an alternate reality, because obviously they're not ending all of the fucking Planescape and all their worlds, especially when they're rebuilding them right now. So it's an alternate thing.
He compared it to like the comic books that do like different universes where they kind of tell
like a parallel universe or something.
Where you're using the kind of familiar heroes, but it's a whole different set of events has happened and you're telling stories in that. And I'm okay with that. That's a great way to do interesting things without having to mess up the lore. So I'm intrigued by this one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch the live play. I'll come back and see if we see if I can learn anything from that's not already presented on this website.
And this reminds me of something. When we were at GaryCon, I had a chance. I think it was after our game to actually talk with Mike Mearls about like what his future projects were, because he had left Chaosium and he was working at the some board game company, as a branch manager, and I asked him, I was like, "Are you working on any other tabletop RPG stuff?" And he's not allowed to probably talk about this at the time. And he said, "Yeah, I'm kind of working on stuff, just for myself, and just kind of releasing stuff for 5e, like with my own changes in the rules and stuff like that." I kind of wonder if that's maybe what he was hinting at, a grittier version of 5e as well too, because I can
Maybe.
see them altering some of the rules as well too, because that would help a lot in like this post-apocalyptic landscape to make it feel a little bit more gritty. This honestly feels like a better version of something we're going to talk about in a little bit. So let's keep moving forward, because we're 45 minutes in and we haven't even got to the
We're
topic.
not even close.
We haven't got to the
being
meat.
done. Yeah.
Oh, did you guys mean Star Wars?
No,
Yes.
yeah. So Dungeons and Dragons.
Do-do-do-do.
Dungeons and Dragons has brought Universes Beyond from Magic the Gathering to D&D. And the first product we're going to talk about in this Universes Beyond setting is Star Wars. No information given. They just showed off Darth Vader, some dude in cosplay with a light-up lightsaber.
I have found
not as many cheers as they were hoping for.
No, there were no cheers really. It was weird.
Well, this the funny part is, when I was watching the keynote at this point in time,
I had quit by then.
I saw them put up the keynote, and they were showing off. Again, that keynote's on our podcast show if you want quick access to it. So they had the Season of Magic, which is September. Season of Champions, which is the next Universes Beyond product, which we'll talk about next. Season of Survival, which is the last product we'll talk about. Seasons of Sword and Sorcery, which I'm pretty sure there was a wink and a nod in the boardroom when they said that, which is Greyhawk. And then they had the Season of Rebellion. And I was like, oh, fuck, is that Star Wars? I said that out loud to nobody else in my office. And it was Star Wars.
Dun, 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 dun.
On one hand, I'm very happy that Star Wars is coming to 5e. I really enjoyed Star Wars 5e from the SW5e site. That guy stopped doing it, stopped updating it, and for years now. So it's kind of fallen aside. So I'm glad it's kind of coming back and getting official content. I did go through and make sure I had all the SW5e stuff locally.
It's going to get pulled, yeah.
Because it's going to get pulled real fast. So I did download that all, because that's a lot of good content there. So I'm excited for this. I'm not super hyped as I am with the other Universes Beyond products. I'm also very worried, because one thing they said about the Universes Beyond is like, this is not going to impede us with our normal slate of standard releases. And the fuck that he said, he fucking said standard releases, which bothered me, because that's exactly what they said with Magic the Gathering, where Universes Beyond wouldn't affect standard releases. And you know what? Standard is just Universes Beyond right now, between Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Spider-Man, Avatar: The Last Airbender, and fucking Marvel superheroes, all standard sets in Magic. All right? With like one set that's actually Magic canon. I don't mind Universes Beyond, but don't have it affect and take over your normal product line. And they said it wasn't going to happen with Magic, and they said it wasn't going to happen for fucking D&D, but I guarantee it's going to happen for D&D. And I'm dreading it already, because on one hand, they're going to make so much money, they're going to double down on it, because that's what happened with Magic.
I'm just going to show up to play in your Adventurers League one day and ask to play a Sith Inquisitor.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if it's during the season,
so you have to let him.
If it's during the Season of Rebellion and it's into PHB, you can fucking do it. I don't care.
Ugh.
The other Universes Beyond product that I talked about, the one I'm very excited for, is Universes Beyond World of Warcraft. I think this is a perfect mix of what D&D is in a setting that works. Even Star Wars is questionable because it's so future technology, but we have Spelljammer, so it kind of works, and you can kind of make Star Wars work in D&D. They did it before during 3.5, so why not have it work now for 5e? I think it will work fine.
The question will be, are they actually going to try to do it the same way they did in 3.5, where they didn't take any of the normal D&D classes or anything, and they just made up their own new core classes just for Star Wars, and
No.
their own systems just for Star Wars and went from there.
Yeah,
no.
about the
So-
only thing that actually was the same is that there were feats and there were D20s being rolled.
Yeah.
Everything else was pretty much different.
So let's going over, because we don't know anything about Star Wars yet, but we know a lot about World of Warcraft. And
Yeah, apparently
Christian,
it's releasing in November.
yeah, it's releasing November, which is fucking awesome for me. And Christian, you kind of mentioned this about the when we get to the last thing, about how all they're doing is just taking X product and putting a coat of paint over 5e and calling it a day. That unfortunately is what's happening to the World of Warcraft one.
No
So
way.
the World of Warcraft one is what they announced is 13 World of Warcraft classes, 16 species, 60 new spells, 25 new magic items, including mounts and companion creatures, 50 monsters, 30 dungeon boss stat blocks, 7 iconic World of Warcraft dungeons, and 20 factions with renowned rewards. So I had to do some digging immediately as to what that actually meant. Because when they said 13 new classes, are we getting actually new classes, or are we just getting, D&D paint over something?
Right, you're going to get, because there are 13 actual classes in D&D. My assumption was, okay, you get 13 subclasses.
So we don't even
Not
get
even.
13. We don't even get 13 subclasses. You go to
Why would
you go to BattleNet. You actually look at the article. They break things down in even more detail. There are 6 new subclasses: the Oath of the Ebon Blade and Oath of the Holy for the Paladin class, Demon Hunter for the Ranger, Shadow Domain and Discipline Domain for the Cleric, Path of the Elements for the Barbarian, and they're re-updating the Swashbuckler Rogue, the Path of the Spirit Guardian for the Barbarian, and the Warrior of the Mystic Brews for the Monk class. So essentially you have your Dark Knight, you have your Paladin, you have your Demon Hunter, you have your Shadow Priest with both the Shadow and Discipline domains, you have your Shaman, that's the Path of the Elements Barbarian, you have your Rogue, you have your Path of the Spiritual Barbarian, which is probably going to be the Druid, and the Monk, which is the Warrior of the Mystic Brews. But that's not even all the classes. That's only 9 of the 13 classes. So Fighter just got left completely out. There's nothing there for the Fighter. He gets nothing fucking new. He just says, fuck you, you get to be a fighter. Just pick from the basic classes. I don't get my fucking sword and board barber or shadow tank fighter like I wanted. They got all the species, the Drakthir, the Draenei, Draenei, Earthen, Forsaken, Harnar, the Mechanomes, Pandarian, Taurens, Trolls, Volpera, and Worgen. I guess they're just going to pull over elves and humans and
all
orcs,
elves will be exactly the same. Doesn't matter if they aren't.
No, because there's right now there's blood elves, the high elves. There's the Nightborn. So those are 3 separate elven classes. So I'm assuming that they'll have, like they do with the Drow and the high elves now, they just have like little stat blocks for the elves for each one, I would hope. I mean, those are all playable races in WoW, so I don't see why they wouldn't have it. For the new spells, they're bringing in some of the iconic spells from World of Warcraft. They mentioned Runestrike.
Moonfire? They better bring in Moonfire.
Yep, Runestrike, Demon Spikes, and Moonfire. So, and more. There's a couple more iconic spells I could think of. Death and Decay would be a really cool one to bring over.
Everything will either just allow you to teleport 30 feet, give you some temporary HP.
Man, I
just
hate that.
can't wait. Just can't wait.
You can be 100% sure that Moonfire will not work correctly because it was a damage over time, and that's not really a thing in 5e. So,
well, not only that, but Moonfire still, even to this day, doesn't exist on the global cooldown. So, how are they going to make that? Like, that's like as a free action, you can cast Moonfire.
Yep.
That's the only way.
It would be really cool if we totally played an MMO, but at the table.
It's just going to be a reskinned Moonbeam.
D&D. It's
so
cool.
Yeah, Moonfire is going to be Moonbeam.
Yeah, I am about as excited about
damage.
this announcement as I was about, I don't know, World of Warcraft in D20 being announced, or Diablo in D20 being announced, or EverQuest in D20 being announced, which is why the fuck would I want to bring something that is completely automated in an MMO to my game table?
You want to know why? And I'll
Why?
answer this.
Why?
I'll answer this honestly, because there is a lot of story and a lot of stuff in the game that I played for 20 years. And even before then in Warcraft 2 and Warcraft 3. And all the time that I spent playing all the other companion games and reading all the companion stuff, there's a lot of story out there. I could sit us down right now and I could just go right off the cuff with a World of Warcraft style story in those settings in that world. And I could go for a whole campaign and not even touch anything in any of the video games. So there's that. Like I think it's gonna be fucking cool. I honestly do, because like this is a world that I've lived in for decades of my life, and I can easily bring this to the table real fast.
Yeah.
Well, for your sake and for the other people that are fans, because this is a thing that this is not for me, but I hope for the people that are fans that it is actually done well. But it just still kind of feels like it's a coat of paint, and you're just going to get a lot of standard D&D.
I think it is going to be. I think it is going to be a coat of paint. I was very interested in what exactly the new like mechanics they would bring to D&D would be, and the only thing that I saw,
man,
the only new mechanic that they are bringing over is professions. They did say you can pick up professions, a brand new mechanic to D&D that allows you to customize your hero between quests during turning downtime into a space to craft gear, tinker on trinkets, and prep upgrades. So I'd be quite interested in that, because gearing and getting the new gear, getting your tier 1 set, tier 2 set, that's like a big part of World of Warcraft.
Oh, gosh, it's gonna be moving money around. Like, remember when we all would craft magic items in Pathfinder and freaking Travis and Rob's games?
Fucking miserable. That was miserable.
I hope they do it well. And I was very interested in like what they were actually going to do for the story. Like, are they going to write their own story? Are they going to do like just a series of one shots? Are they going to base this just as like you're storming Icecrown to kill Arthas? Because that's what they showed off in the trailer. What it looks like is you're basically just doing a series of one shots. They're taking, as they say here, 7 iconic dungeons reimagined. Azjol Narub, Black Fathom Deeps, Dead Mines, Direball, Onyxi's Lair, Scarlet Monastery, Shadowfang Keep. Basically just one shots to kind of go through those dungeons, and part of that is the map packs to go with it. And then they have the bigger raids as giant, more involved campaign dungeons, specifically Icecrown Citadel, where it's just Icecrown Citadel and the big thing. It's a full adventure, level 16 to 20. So I think that'll be kind of interesting. I don't know what the exclusive digital boss kill rewards are, or why that would exist.
Sweet. I can tell you exactly why it exists. Money.
Yeah.
Fear of missing out. You're gonna order the collector's set or bullshit, so you can have a virtual digital boss or whatever the fuck. Jesus. So
the World of Warcraft D&D Collector's Ultimate Edition bundle, $145.
What a great price.
Comes included with a limited edition physical D&D World of Warcraft Collector's Edition slipcase, with 2 dedicated, with cover treatments dedicated to 2 World of Warcraft iconic factions, basically Horde and Alliance. You get the digital version, of course. You get the map pack. You get the Dungeon Master screen. You get the Icy Throne digital set, the Horde and Alliance character sheets, the backgrounds and frames for Horde and Alliance, the Murloc promo mini, and the D&D Encounters Season of Champions mini adventure. So I've already pre-ordered this, guys. So
we knew you had.
Whatever you want to say. It releases 106th day, and I'm looking forward to it. I am excited. I told
enjoy
Jay,
your MMO combat simulator with your tabletop.
Chris, I am not even remotely going to crap on you on this one because I actually do understand it. Now, I am not like into World of Warcraft lore, as you well know, but before World of Warcraft, I played a lot of EverQuest. And when I found out that they were releasing an EverQuest role-playing game way the hell back when, I was super excited and I bought it and I dove through that book. I never ran the campaign, but I did love the lore and the story and the setting, which is where we're going to get to on our next topic, clearly. But yeah, I get it.
Time.
Not soon.
So I'm
I
super
can't hold
excited
it back
for
for
this.
too long, Jay.
I'm trying to hold it back.
I've already been asked to run this. I'm going to be running it for D&D Encounters and Adventures League.
But it's Universes Beyond, you can't run it in Adventures League, right?
No, Season of Champion is Adventures League. It is an official. Yeah, and that's when I brought it up. Like they said, it's not going to interfere with their standard releases for their standard books and whatnot.
You bet it is.
But yet it immediately is. The second he said it, right behind him.
I'm showing up at Chris's table on Adventure League to do nothing but say troll with axe.
I hope you're ready to run some Star Wars because that's gonna happen.
I don't mind it. Like I don't mind it. I just hope that they do more than just a coat of paint, and that's unfortunately what I think it's gonna be.
Oh, it's just gonna be a coat of paint.
I'll be disappointed with that. I would be happy if it was a whole, like they did with their whole Saga edition for 35, where it was its own thing. It used the basic chassis, but they did their own thing. If they're gonna just put a coat of paint and you're gonna play a fighter, and your fighter subclass is Jedi, then I'm gonna be real disappointed.
I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna play a Forcerer. It's a sorcerer that uses the Force.
Yep.
All right. So getting to the next and most famous release, I've actually already been asked to run this as a streaming game by our close and personal friends, Jay, Dan, and Christian. Mm-hmm. So we may have to pull this off and do this digitally. Christian, can you tell us the biggest disappointment that happened during the keynote?
I can. Much to my sadness, they announced season of survival.
Yep.
Is the return of D&D's Dark Sun campaign setting, and they wanted to make you sure you knew just how edgy it was, because their lawyers definitely told them they had to shrink wrap it and put a label on it, which
bullshit.
Sounds like more like marketing gimmick. But it is, if you've ever been into a Hot Topic at the mall, you know how edgy it is.
Oh my god. Okay.
So before you guys dive into your big issues with it, I just want to go over Dark Sun to me as someone that started in 4th edition.
Yep.
To now, okay, and my thing will be short compared to your guys' rants. I got the Dark Sun books in 4th edition. Okay, to me, it's a world that's post-apocalyptic. Magic is rare. Psionics is everywhere. You have weapons of bone and chitin. There's basically cannibals and slave traders around every dune, and if you come across a mage or someone that can cast a spell, you better watch out because they're evil as shit. Everything is survival. Everything is brutal. Everything is death. You look at all the artwork and you're just amazed by it. So tell me how this is not that.
Your description is accurate. Okay, your description that you just gave is accurate. Let's start with the trailer that they released. All right. The trailer that they released was, I don't know, 30 seconds long, give or take. And it's just this battlefield of people slaughtering each other. Okay. That seems cool. At the end, you have this lady, probably a mule. I don't really know no, she has hair. She's not a mule, but some species from Dark Sun holding a bat'leth. It looks like a fucking Klingon bat'leth that she's holding, and she rips a dude's head off with his spine still attached.
Very Predator-based move.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And looking at the artwork, nearly everybody's wearing metal armor. Problem number
no.
one. Yeah. Problem number two, Dark Sun is definitely violent. It is definitely savage. It is definitely edgy. But if you go back and you look at where it came from in second edition and you look at the artwork, because what makes up a setting is artwork and the lore. That is what makes up any setting. There is not extreme levels of violence in the artwork. It does not exist. And the first thing they do in trying to sell people on this is make it the most visceral, bloody, gut tearing thing that you could possibly throw out there. So they've already kind of missed the mark. You want it to be visceral and savage, but you want it through storytelling, not through showing.
When I saw the video, because this was the first thing that I had seen on it, because we had been suspecting Dark Sun for months now.
A while, yeah.
When I saw the 30-second clip, I saw the 30-second video, I went back to my 90s era of watching really bloody as hell anime. If you guys have ever seen Ninja Scroll, there were scenes in there where like there's some really brutally strong demon guy like puts his fingers in some dude's eyes and just fucking rips his head apart, and there's just blood everywhere, and it's gory for the sake of being gory. And it was a very 90s anime thing. That is what I saw in this video clip. And then there were wailing guitars at the end, and a very Jay described the mule holding up like the part of a skull and a spine, and it was like, okay, Predator, I guess. I didn't really I'm not sure the artist, the animators, or anybody understood the fucking assignment at all. It didn't feel like anything that I could actually see as Dark Sun, other than it was a bloody battlefield, which could be fucking anywhere.
Yeah, and looking at it, because I'm looking at the final picture from it. Like I said, everybody's in metal armor with metal weapons. There's just
real quick, I put a screen grab of that like final image of the trailer in our podcast chat for just everyone to kind of see what we're talking about.
So let's talk briefly about the metal. Metal is the two most precious things in Dark Sun are metal and water. Metal is incredibly rare. The city of Nibene, only the Sorcerer King could afford a bronze gong. Like, that's how fucking rare metal is. If the city of Tyr has the only known iron mines, and they trade with all the other cities. If you're not from Tyr, you're just not going to really have it. And even then, only the Sorcerer King and his closest allies have access to any of it. No one is wearing metal armor. You will die.
Well, yeah, no one wears the armor because of the heat.
Yeah. So looking at the image from the trailer, going from left to right, you have a metal banner, an ogre with a giant metal club.
In metal armor.
In metal armor.
Also, there's no ogres.
Metal weapons everywhere. Yeah.
I mean, it might be a half giant.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be half giant.
It looks like a D&D ogre, though.
Yeah, it kind of does.
Yeah.
So
to where you start with, Chris, with 4th edition, I have that 4th edition book because it was Dark Sun. I bought it because I like Dark Sun. And the problem with that, and with what I fear that this is going to be, is that they didn't really bring back Dark Sun. They put a skin suit on 4th edition to make it look like Dark Sun, and I think that's what they're going to do here. Especially, this is a world where magic is reviled because it causes damage, and it's super rare. How many classes in current D&D use magic?
Every single one.
That's kind of a problem. And if you look at when Dark Sun first released, and even in its revised set, like in 2E, it made extreme changes to what you were allowed to play and for classes and races. It changed the mechanics of those classes and races, even the ones you were allowed to play. and it made the game fit the world. It said, oh, this, you can't play this like a normal D&D. You can't just take normal D&D and throw it in here and work. They changed the things to make it fit the world. I don't think they're going to do that here. I don't think they're going to tell you can't play a paladin, or your ranger can't cast spells, or there are no sorcerers and there's only these classes. I don't think they're going to make all of those changes. I think they're just going to slap on some, 6 new subclasses and 3 returning subclasses.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the gladiator, which is going to be pristine.
And call it a day. And I just... even the some of the artwork, and I'm reading brief descriptions of the things they have, where they have, the city of Nibene as home to scholars who join their minds with the Sorcerer King in pursuit of knowledge and science.
Hang on, Christian. So I have an entire page of notes, and I'm going to go through it. It's in there.
All right. Well, start from the top, and we'll discuss.
All right. Real quick before we go down my list of notes, the other major problem they have, and it is a major problem, and it kind of dovetails off what Christian was saying about magic, is the psionics problem. Everything, and I mean literally every creature had psionics. Even if you're playing a class, it doesn't matter if you're a fighter, you still had psionics. It might just be one little tiny thing, but you had it.
Every character you created got to roll on the wild talents table, and everyone had one wild talent. If you had nothing else, you had your one thing.
And since they don't have psionics, and they've decided they're just not going to really do psionics in 5e, that's just missing. Okay, so after they did the little trailer and they start going through the keynote, they start sort of walking through pieces of art and then talking about all of the different city states. And I listened to them very, very closely on the lore, and then I was kind of looking at the pictures, and I do realize the vast majority of my problems are in the art. Most of the lore, other than Nibene, which Christian was just talking about, most of the lore is pretty good. It's like the city of Tyr, which is it's sort of the major central location for a lot of the stories and stuff. It seems like it's post Calyx's death, which is fine because that did happen. It happened in the very first book of the Prism Pentad, the Verdant Passage by Troy Denning. So that kind of tracks. They did mention that it's really bad to be siding with tyrants in that city. It reminded me very much of like the French Revolution, the Terror,
the Reign of Terror. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. It is the Reign of Terror going on there.
Yeah, where if anybody even suspects you like tyrants, they string you up and murder you or sell you into slavery or something because it's Dark Sun. But the city of Tyr seemed pretty good lore-wise. The art, however, did not really do it very good justice. It's these giant towers everywhere with flames and lava and spikes. And so if you go back and look in the original Dark Sun setting, every single palace in every single city had artwork. So you have an actual visual description of what the palaces look like. And then, they're not necessarily fantastic pieces of art, but you have a general idea. And this is not even remotely what that city looks like. It should be small. It should be made out of sandstone or marble or something simple. And this is giant stone works with razor blades coming off of everything. Like, I don't even know what the hell I'm looking at with this.
Yeah, it looks like they decided, like, oh, I don't know, what's another edgy setting? Warhammer 40K?
Yeah, I could see that in Warhammer.
So there is a big tower, and I'll say this: the 4th edition book has a great image of the city of Tyr. That tells you exactly what it should look like based off of the old 2e descriptions. Like, it matches that same thing where you have this kind of these 2 sections of the city, and there's a big causeway between them. You have the tower, that's the palace, and then the giant step pyramid.
Yeah, it's the reason the ziggurat that he was building.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
yes.
Like there should be a giant ziggurat. That's the most important feature of the whole city. The next one they talked about was the city of Draj. which doesn't really show the city in their picture. The only thing I could say about the art, and these are my actual notes, what the fuck are the helmets and armor they are wearing? It looks like a Guillermo del Toro movie. They have these weird Art Nouveau helmets that look like it's part of their face.
So Draj was always vaguely Aztec in its representation.
Mm-hmm.
Like
their emperor would sacrifice 10,000 people in a
Yes,
day. Like,
they
not
would
think twice
constantly
about
be
it.
looking for sacrifices to the moon, and they would take them up the step pyramid, and just like that, like it was the same kind of thing. And so the look was always like that too. The look was always, kind of based off of that.
Oh, and they're all wearing metal armor too, by the way.
Yeah, why not?
In this weird artwork. Let's see, the city of Gulg, which is actually, I think, about the only sort of good city, and I do say that in quotations.
Okay.
The sorcerer queen didn't,
Mhm.
She wasn't sacrificing people all the time and stuff. And the lore seemed fine, but my God, what in the fuck is this art I'm looking at? It's just a blob of green and blue.
So it was always a tree city. It was these giant big trees, and all the citizens of people lived up in the trees and were connected by hanging walkways, and the visitors had to stay on the ground.
Yeah. And I don't get any of that from this piece of art. Like I said, most of my issues were with the art. The city of
do more than just a single sentence for anything else. I mean,
well, they also mentioned something to do with undeath and lots of undead in Golg, and that definitely doesn't fit with the way that city
well,
is
no,
set for.
I don't think they said undead. They were talking about the corpse flower guardians, which actually is a thing.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, because you don't want to mess around there because literally the plants will just eat you.
Yes.
The city of Uruk. My note was the art looks like a Harkonnen palace, and why is Sauron's eye looking over Uruk?
Yeah. Look, Haminu was clearly this was a whole city that was clearly Babylonian inspired. It was the city of law where, they had very strict codified laws.
I mean, Dan's an architect. You can look at that piece of art. There's no way that building stays standing. Like, it's got two giant.
Sure, if it's steel reinforced, which apparently they got steel there now. So
yeah, it's all steel and concrete. Nothing. There's lava running down the middle of the city.
Yeah, I'm sure that's going to be fine. Yeah. There's lava aqueducts going across there. That's what that is.
Yeah. Time. The next one that was the city of Ron. One thing I don't know timeline wise is Abalak Ray dead or alive, because we don't really know when this is going to take place timeline wise.
It seems like they're mostly going with the just Kalik is dead and all the other Sorcerer Kings are alive.
Because she died in the third book, I think it was.
She did eventually die, and but if you look at it like in the adventure, and this happens in the adventure path in Darksum because they follow the books. They do the same thing that Dragonlance things do, where you follow the books and the outcome is kind of predetermined.
Yeah,
but she does eventually die, but they kind of
in the keynote though, they never mentioned her at all, and they just mentioned that you can basically buy anything you want in the city of Ron if the money's good. And they did mention debauchery, and when you look at the art, it's these giant pink towers that do not exist, that are not a thing, with mouths and tongues coming out of them, and it makes me think of Slanesh from Warhammer.
It does.
Next one was Nibene. This Christian, if you want to go ahead and go on about this one, because this is
Nibene, where it looks again. This looks like straight out of Dune, but it looks sci-fi, man. There's people with like power weapons. There's some dude with like cybernetics and something connected to his brain to a computer. Everything's lit up like it's a cyberpunk dystopia in the desert. Which is never how Nibene was described. Nibene was always, in fact, they flat out said that their visual reference for it was Angkor Wat, like the ancient Southeast Asian ruins. His palace was always was a shape in the bust of his, like it was a bust of his head. There was like a forbidden inner city where only the Templars could go into.
You know, all of the Templars were women, and a large portion of them were his wives.
Called themselves that, at least, whatever that meant. They never were super clear on it. He was always somebody that was produced, was very much about knowledge, but they called him the Shadow King because he was also a somebody that was all of his people were spies, and he was very much about uncovering intelligence and operating a spy network and operating in the shadows and operating very much undercover, so you wouldn't know things that had been done by Nibene.
Yeah, there is a huge amount of lore on Nibene, like a lot of it, and just reading through it,
it's not science fiction.
It is definitely not science fiction, not even remote. Like I said, the only metal, he was the only person who could afford a bronze gong.
Yeah, they famously, Nibene and Golg are rivals, and because of where they are, they had very little metal. Most of their stuff was wood and obsidian.
Yeah, just a massive army, and he had a lot of Templars too, which are spellcasters. But in the keynote, they talked about, I don't know the exact quote, but it was basically boiled down to, the Sorcerer King and his Templars joining minds to seek out immortality. First off, Nibene is over 2,000 years old. I think he's already pretty fucking immortal.
The Sorcerer Kings already have immortality. They don't need to seek out anything. They already have it.
Yeah, and he's also well on his way to becoming a dragon.
And definitely not going to share it with even their Templars or anyone else.
No. So I don't know what they were thinking lore-wise on that one. Let's see.
Balak.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So there's not a lot to go off of in this one. It's just a piece of art of some guy in metal armor with a giant lion shoulder pauldron and a two-handed metal sword fighting a golem or some shit. The lore, from what they said, the lore was pretty accurate. The Sorcerer King's a prick. He likes to go to war.
No, he doesn't. Androponus was who's the Sorcerer King of Balak, which is the city that is on the Sea of Silt. It was a very Greek style. He had a faux democracy. They had a senate where even his Templars would have to be elected and could get voted out. It was all a sham. He controlled everything like a puppet master, but he put on the show of being an elected leader.
Yeah, go ahead.
And the so there was always, and he sponsored, in a very like Greek and Roman fashion, he sponsored like the theaters, troops, and it was always a very Greco-Roman city that existed off trade on the Sea of Silt. I don't know. Now, sure, he was very ambitious, and he was hinted at maybe he was one of the Sorcerer Kings that was still loyal to the first sorcerer, Rajat.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I don't know. This definitely doesn't match any of this.
And they didn't mention Rajat at all, aka Dragoth, who is dead and became undead.
They're not the same person. Rajat is imprisoned in the Hollow.
Okay,
Dragoth was the one that that Hamadou and some of the other Sorcerer Kings got together and killed because he was getting further along on his transformation.
Yes,
but they did not succeed.
Yeah, that I honestly I feel like that's where the story, if they start releasing modules and stuff, that's probably where it goes. Is Dragoth and his Dragonborn coming back.
Yeah,
the Dragonborn.
Yeah, but they completely missed the proper feel, I think, of this entire thing. Yeah,
that was going to be my question to you guys. Is obviously I don't know much about the lore. I just know what I saw in fourth. Yeah, and
the lore was fine mostly in fourth.
If you ignored everything where they talked about the land beyond the winds, the Fae stuff, because Primal was one of the three major power sources in 4th edition, so anything related to that is dumb. All the stuff where they shoehorned in the additional core races and all the places where they put those, But if you just look at the Atlas of Athos section of the 4th edition book, where they just kind of go over the city-states, most of that is pretty good when you axe all the weird additions.
Well, what I was going to ask too is like, we don't know anything about this setting yet, really, except for what they kind of said at the keynote, right?
And they're bringing the Scion class in.
Ooh,
Are they?
Which was so, yeah, they said that.
Which I'm really impressed by the Unearthed
Which was
Arcana
so good
for that.
in the Unearthed Arcana. It's just a sorcerer.
Well, I was looking. I put a Reddit thread where the guy put a lot of the pictures from the keynote in, because I can't find the keynote pictures on D&D Beyond. So that's the only screen grabs that I have for it currently. So you can kind of see that
I'll show it to you guys.
I'm on DungeonsandDragonsFan.com, just looking at the art.
Yeah. So there is a lot of metal in a lot of these photos. A lot of people are saying that maybe this is based in the Green Age, whatever that is.
And not if Calyx dead.
Not if there are the Sorcerer Kings.
Yeah.
In the Green Age, none of these Sorcerer Kings existed yet.
Yep.
I don't know then. Like, I mean,
I'm not sure they know either.
Yeah.
It might be really cool to have, Dark Sun really, far in the future or really far in the past, and that way you kind of avoid the hard pressed things that are there, but like that's half the fun. And there was one comment in the Reddit thread that kind of stood out, where they said that Dark Sun was built around Brahms art, and none of this is Brahms art. So what's the point?
Yeah, that was the other thing. Brahm wasn't just the artist. He was also involved in the actual design and talking about, what would, helping actually build the setting and the lore and what would make it unique. And this is, this is not that.
So, I mean, like, that's kind of what I come to. I wouldn't mind another setting. I don't mind like the future technology stuff. I guess people were debating that in the Reddit thread too. Like there is a spaceship somehow. I don't know.
Power armor, a cybernetic arm.
I'm looking at a piece where there's a fucking cybernetic arm. Like,
yeah, there's no question of what that is. Like, it's obvious, even just in a shitty screen grab. I mean,
right? Like I get that, but I don't know much about the lore. Like, is there a spaceship? Like,
no.
People saying there is in the lore. The hardcore fans in this Reddit thread are saying that there is.
I'm sure they're hardcore fans.
Yeah, well, they have quotes. There's an interview that they reference, so I'm assuming that they are.
They might be taking stuff that. So there was some small stuff put out about Dark Sun in the Spelljammer books, but because that was Spelljammer and not actual Dark Sun, there's the, debate of the whole point of Dark Sun was that it's cut off from everywhere else.
There's a comment in the lore called the Messenger, and the plan was it to be a spaceship of sorts for 3 halflings from the Blue Age who escaped the Brown Tide. After the events in Dragoth ascending, the Messenger would soon after crash into Athos, and 3 powerful halflings were supposed to bring back lost life magic and knowledge back to Athos in hope of rebuilding the world. It was a Q&A with the designer Kevin Melka.
So the Messenger is a mysterious comet that visits Athos every 45 years.
Yeah. Supposedly that's supposed to be a spaceship.
In an interview with Athos.org, game designer Kevin Melka said that the Messenger may have been a life-shaped halfling spaceship. So no, may have been. It doesn't count.
So there is stuff where in the Blue Age, the halflings, who were the original race of Athos, they were the original creatures, and they were the only ones at the beginning of the Blue Age. Now their life-shaping stuff was sort of akin to sci-fi kind of stuff. It was mostly like, if you think about it, I guess in 40K, like Tyranids, all the stuff was living things. They learned how to grow and shape life into all the kind of tools and stuff they could want.
Okay.
But then they, as beings do, they flew too close to the sun and ruined it all because they tried to be like, oh, what else can I do? What else can I do? Uh-oh, I screwed it all up.
So all I'm getting at is like there is precedence of a sort for
But not like
Dude,
if you look at
there's
this
an,
is
there's,
like
there's an
this is
article from 2000 about the 3rd edition writer for it, referencing something that never actually came to pass in canon, in lore, in books, and even in that same article that they're referencing, the guy literally says, just because Brom didn't illustrate it doesn't mean it didn't happen, but it didn't because it's not written, because it's not in any official books.
and
and it
that's
wasn't
and
and it
that's
was
fair.
it was still very limited. Like even that stuff was very limited, and it wasn't metal and weird circuitry and nothing like that.
All like I said, all I'm trying to ask or just gonna get to is like the post-apocalyptic, state of Dark Sun. If it was 100 years later, could it have gotten to what those images are now?
No.
Probably not, because for
No, you go from
2000,
the Stone Age to fucking power armor? Probably not.
yeah, you have to realize Dark Sun, the setting hasn't changed for 2,000 years. That's how long the Sorcerer Kings have been in power, and with very few exceptions have they turned over.
Yeah, and it's more about they are hoarding resources onto themselves because the sun is dying. Like the world is dying, and that's part of the whole thing of like the world is going to die at some point.
And
It's
they're
not
helping to
getting
kill
better.
it too. So,
And every time that people are using defiling magic, it makes it worse.
yeah, the feel of the setting at all times should be low tech and kind of feel like Conan. Like if it doesn't feel like that, then it's not the proper feel of that setting.
But
So,
what if Tasha and Dred Stewart showed up and brought magics back to the world with them and a
So-
lot of ice?
All right,
They
so
have magic.
so any other topics before we wrap this thing up? We've bitched about Dark Sun enough.
Yeah, last thing on the keynote, last thing to talk about is the game Warlock is coming out. And they revealed that the titular Warlock in this game, the patron, is Tasha. And
Cool.
I have a problem with that. And I was telling my wife about it. And she goed, "You're such a fucking nerd. Shut up." So I'm gonna tell
fair.
you, I'm gonna tell you guys, and to see if it's a valid response. I don't mind Tasha being everywhere. You got to put a hot chick somewhere. But why is it Tasha is the hot chick? That's not who she is right now. Right now, she is Iglewith. She is her hag. She is old now. She is in a state of being near her max power. Even in the Vecna book, Iglewith goes, "I'm not going to help you. Fuck off." But Tasha will, and sends a version of her from the past into the future so Tasha could help out, because Iglewith does not care, nor does she care. So this game is based off of Tasha being the patron. But Tasha wouldn't be the patron, it would be Iglewith. Or is this the same Tasha from the past? Or do they not care and they're just having Tasha be everything now?
You just fried my brain.
It's an action RPG, and they don't care. Time travel is
action
dumb.
RPG, they don't care. But by the way, Trisha Helfer is voice acting in it. So
Yeah,
yes,
all about that.
Which I'm
so
weird.
yeah,
And
I'm
also,
very excited.
you're thinking way too deep into it. And you're, for a second off, your wife is right. You're a fucking nerd. And third, she's been doing this whole hag / Tasha, beautiful maiden thing for thousands of years. Like she goes back and forth, man. And also, hags can look like whatever the fuck they want.
No, but in Witchlight, okay?
I don't give a fuck about Witchlight.
Listen, I'm talking about canon books here, guys. So in Witchlight,
canon. Yeah, okay, yeah, whatever. Get Craig in here.
Right. After 5th edition, when they've ruined canon, sure. Okay.
Let her finish. Let her finish this thing.
So in Witchlight, the whole reason like that's going on is because 3 apprentices of Iglewith basically captured her, shoved her in a cauldron, and she's unable to go back to her normal hot Tasha ways. She's stuck as being a hag. So like
hags can shape change, man.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. That's the point of the story, is that she's stuck as being a hag. Okay.
So dumb.
Is this a story that was just a sidebar in the fucking book that you never actually learn about as your characters?
No, because the end of the book is you rescuing Tasha or Igloowiv, really, from the cauldron, or else Witchlight stays, or else Witchlight goes everywhere and destroys everything.
So is the whole point of the story you help Medea get her magic back?
Yeah.
Like it sounds like the whole point is just to help some old lady become hot again.
But if she's not in the cauldron anymore, then what your point falls apart.
No, I'm saying that's half the reason. It's like she's in a weakened state. She's in at this point where she's got to go back and she's got to re-get her book and shit like that. They were supposed to do other stuff with the storyline and they never did. So
Well, congratulations. It happened off camera.
Yeah.
Boom.
Well, maybe you just have to play Warlock and fucking find out.
well, because that's half the reason why she didn't help L'Oreal with Vecna.
I'm not even going to talk about that because that whole adventure was fucking dumb.
Yeah, she would be helping her anyway. How about
Yeah.
that?
That whole
Yeah.
thing was dumb, and no, they should
Well,
never have
if
made
it
that.
makes you guys feel better, my party
doesn't.
TPK'd and Vecna won.
Well, good job.
So much nerd rage this episode.
Yeah.
All right, we're
Tasteful,
pretty far over
understated
here.
Yeah, I think we're done here. All right. Bye, Craig.
Bye, Craig.